Here is our systematic outline of the procedure for graphing functions of the form either y equals a sine bx minus c plus d or y equals a cosine bx minus c plus d. So I'm going to run through these steps in a short video, and then we're going to do some examples where we throw everything into the mix and do a graph. So first of all, we know the amplitude is given by the absolute value of a, and we have to remember that if a is negative, we reflect through the basic graph of sine or cosine through the x-axis. So amplitude is always positive. We would never say the amplitude was a negative number, but we do have to take the negative a into account when graphing. The period is given by 2 pi over b. You can also use an inequality to figure that out if you don't remember the formula, but this formula will always work. And for us, b will always be positive. The phase shift can be gotten by factoring out a b from bx minus c and observing what you get in parentheses. Or you can just use the formula c over b. Sometimes there's a little bit of confusion about whether we're shifting to the right or the left, and I just want you to be aware that the original parentheses, the original formula for the function will always give you the correct direction for the horizontal shift. So if it's a minus sign, you'll move to the right. If it's a plus sign, to the left. D is the vertical shift, and what we call the midline will be always given by the equation y equals d. So sketch a preliminary graph without the phase shift. Use the period to find the 5 important points, and I'll go through that in some examples. Draw a final graph with the phase shift. Add the phase shift to the x-coordinates of the 5 important points from step 5. We've actually done that once. If you could draw the final graph without the preliminary graph, I would accept that, but I think it's a lot easier with the preliminary graph. And just a couple more points here at the bottom. When we get to tangent and cotangent, which is further down the line, the period is given by a different formula because they have a different period to begin with. And just one thing about the notation that's used here, our textbook likes to give these formulas with a minus sign inside parentheses, a plus sign outside. That kind of makes sense because a plus sign outside, positive outside, means a vertical shift up. Minus outside would be a vertical shift down. Minus sign inside parentheses means a horizontal shift to the right, and a plus sign would mean a horizontal shift to the left. So there's some logic to that, but just notice that if you had a formula like y equals sine x plus pi over 3, according to the textbook's conventions, we think of that as x plus pi over 3 as x minus a negative pi over 3. And they will call c, they will label c as a negative number. And it won't be confusing, you'll see. If we just go by what we see in the original formula, you'll get the horizontal shift correct. So these steps are posted in Canvas as a PDF. And next we're going to do at least 2 more examples where we have quite a lot going on and we will follow this procedure.